Hey boys, welcome back to the Puck and Stuff Podcast, episode 23, boys. We're getting close to 25 with my boy T-Dog over here, and this episode is sponsored by, well, A Man Can Dream.
A man can dream. I gotta say,
What do you guys say?
Episode 23, and they were talking about the NBA Finals here. Who wears number 23?
I know Michael Jordan does, but he's not in this finals. Is he like is it a very known player? Is he like a superstar?
I think he's a bit of a plug. I think his name is Seth Curry. Seth Curry's not even a plug, bro. I'm sorry to Seth Curry, bro. It's just your fucking Nets.
Nah. We all know he's a role player, though, right? He's a role player. He's a support man. He gets the dirty work done, right?
I don't think he hits a lot of threes.
No. I remember...
He's like an eighth man.
I remember when they shot out that stat that said... I remember the stat. He made more podcasts during the finals than he did points in one game. Or actually, you know what? It was the same amount of fouls, I think it was in the same podcast episodes of fouls. Yeah, I think that was what. It was Draymond Green. If you guys can't obviously tell enough, welcome to the NBA Finals recap. Yeah, this is the best you're going to get for jerseys. We'll maybe, hopefully, sometime get new ones, but... yeah, we gotta love the Black Mamba, right? Tristan, wow, very interesting series. You came out on top of being correct.
I was correct with specifically the games as well. I'm kind of worried the fact that I know more about hockey, yet I've been more correct on the NBA series than the NHL series. But
I think you're beating me.
Maybe I'm just thinking less about it and more just kind of being like, maybe. Maybe the simplistic stats instead of the advanced stats are kind of proving what's happening. So this series, for me, what I'm going to say is simply this. Golden State was just the better team over Boston. When they took momentum, they held it for longer.
Oh, we're jumping right in. All right.
They really made sure when they would play dominant at home. Their players came to play, their youngsters came to play, and ultimately, Boston just didn't have... everyone kind of play a full game for every series. People are gonna blame Jason Tatum for the series loss because of Game 6, but you shouldn't because you look at the stats that weren't Game 6 and you realize that he was putting up an average. I think it was like about 25 a game. For games 1 to 5, something around those lines.
He was pretty close, yeah.
But he averaged 23.5 for the series. 21.5. Sorry, my bad.
That was
Jaylen Brown was 23.5. I'm looking at the wrong stat, but
I gotta give a lot of credit to that, though, because it's obviously Jason Tatum had a great playoffs, but it just showed he's still young. He's got tons of time to grow and actually get that playoff experience. This is a good first step for him, but damn, I really thought they were the Cinderella story in this situation. I thought they were going to take it. Dude, after Game 1 and Game 3, I'm like, this team could possibly take this. Because they were, Game 1 and Game 3, they won by almost, one was 20 and one was 16. And it looked like it could have been over, but it's Curry. How can you bet out Curry? There's a reason why he was Finals MVP. First one out of the 4 championships he's won, by the way.
Which is crazy because he always played pretty predominant throughout all those series. I mean, there's no coincidence that the Warriors have been to the finals 6 times in the last 8 years.
Sorry, what'd you just say?
That's just crazy to me.
Sorry, what'd you just say?
The Warriors have appeared in the NBA Finals 6 years in the last 8.
See, that's a true dynasty right there. If you're looking at any dynasty, that's a dynasty right there. That's almost to the Bulls level of dynasty.
Crazy.
The 90s Bulls that compares to it pretty well.
It's just...
it doesn't have 6, sadly, but, dude, that's the closest we've seen in a very long time.
Well, it's just weird, and I was writing about that in the article post there.
Check out the website, boys. We got a blog.
Check out the website, puckandstuff.wixsite.com/podcast. We also got a blog going on. It's pretty hype. Anyways.
Yes, it totally is.
With my really bad writing skills, but I was saying that... I'm trying to regain my thoughts here as I kind of lost him.
Whoops.
Oh, boy. But appearances and... oh, yes. So,
There we go.
Seeing a team with an injured Curry and an injured Clay, and you see how they were playing. There's talks, and I even thought, maybe you start retooling, you start kind of shipping guys off. Maybe this is kind of the end for Golden State, which, as a fan, you're kind of glad because you want more teams to, make it to the finals and win. But proves that they come back, and they're as dominant as ever. And it kind of helps when you seem to trade well. That D'Angelo Russell trade for Mr. Andrew Wiggins. I think some of you Canadian guys might have heard of him. Wow,
I wonder who that is.
He popped up 18.3 points averaged. That's just something else, eh? The youngsters in this series, too, really came to play, him and Jordan Poole. So that also really helps Golden State, and the fact that they're getting their prospects to play up to par with this team means that this Golden State team might be here for another 5 years, right? It's crazy.
Exactly. When you look at that and just the young talent is coming out of nowhere out of Golden State, and you still have Klay Thompson with Curry, and you still have like Draymond Green there, that's insane. And again, this team could run it back for a repeat. Like,
yes.
No true players other than Iguodala are leaving, and they do have to sign Payton, I believe, Gary Payton's son.
You're going to want to sign Payton.
I would. He was probably one of the better defensive players on that team, and he showed it. And wow, I've realized that guy's been bouncing around a league for years.
Who is what was his other teams? I actually don't.
Some were the Lakers, some were Boston. Like, he's jumped to almost like 5 or 6 teams, and then he landed with the Golden State Warriors, and he's doing really well.
You're gonna want to sign him. He's a perfect depth piece.
That is a good depth piece.
I heard his name around a lot, meaning he was playing his position.
Yeah, exactly. But you look at, I see this in this situation as you also look at Boston. You look at theirs, and they don't truly have to re-sign any key pieces either. Now they can actually go into the offseason and be like, hey, we can run it back too. We just got to fix a little bit of the depth problems. And, yeah, you could probably make something really well because now you got Jason Tatum that has that finals playoff experience, and now he's hungry, and he wants one now. He has that Kobe mentality now.
Celtics now have adversity, so that can go a long way. I do think you run it back, of course. I think you're going to try and go for a 6-man. I think your starting 5 is fine. But I definitely think maybe it was a blessing in disguise that you lose this series because you come back the next year's hungrier, right? Like you're saying, more passionate, and you understand that you have to play a full game. Now, both teams really could run it back. We could even see both these teams in the finals again. It's very possible.
I've heard a lot of people make early finals predictions for next year. They said they're both running it back. They already said it's going to be a round 2 for this.
They're probably at least going conference finals again. I don't see why not. And I think Boston, there's no way you don't make any stupid moves in the deadline. I think you, like I said, you try and go for an added depth piece maybe to rack up a few more points. Because really, you're getting your points from, of course, Brown, Tatum. Smart had 15, but I think after that, I think it was Williams that had 12.5.
Robert Williams?
I think it was Robert Williams that had 12.5 points. So you really only had about 3 to 4 players that were kind of contributing. You're going to need more than that on a consistent basis. So I almost wonder if...
But you got to also realize from those 4 that you just said, those are like key star players for Boston right now. That's like the key 4 that you're looking to build around. So if you actually think about it, that's really good that you have a good starting 5 pieces like that. But when you look at it, their depth-wise, I see what you mean. They're lacking. They're lacking.
Especially if injuries come to play, right? And I'm not saying it'll happen, but basketball's pretty common for injuries to occur, right? Just how it's a very repetitive sport, right? And so I think you're gonna want a 6-man. See who's on the market. I don't think Boston's too screwed over with the cap. They ain't no Mavericks. The Mavericks are screwed. I don't know how they're gonna be signing.
Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, Brunson.
Ooh, it's going to be interesting for them, but it's the NBA. What's a salary cap, right?
Yeah. What is a salary cap?
What is a salary
cap? I don't
cap?
even believe... They say there's a salary cap. I don't believe it. I think the NHL is the only league that actually has or goes by the salary cap rules that they propose or put down into paper. So
Or just don't fully understand it, I
maybe,
guess.
maybe none of us just understand. That's probably what it is.
Maybe. Just that's why we stick with
It
hockey
never
most of the
makes
time,
sense.
to be honest. But anyways, I will jump into like a little bit of stats. And the top performers, I'll just kind of go off of the list I have. Curry MVP, Finals MVP, first one. Wow, what a series for him. Came out of like just he wanted one again. He wanted everyone to shut
no,
up
that
because
was-
I saw all the memes because all the reporters and everything were going like this because how many more championships is Curry winning in the next 4 years, and the guys were going like this. And then Curry during an interview did it because he was trolling them because they did that to him beginning of the season. And yeah, he blew me away, and I was very shocked. I wasn't shocked at all to see he got Finals MVP.
No.
He put up 31 points, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds. Like, it says itself. He took that team to the promised land like he said he would from last year. Andrew Wiggins, what a surprise player. True Canadian, putting up 18 points with 9 rebounds and 2 assists. And you got Clay. Not that surprising.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't get to see Game 6 Clay. Do you understand that reference?
He was pretty dominant in those final few games in this during playoff rounds.
No,
but
so they call him Game 6 Clay because a little bit ago in the playoffs, he went off. Like, he set the record for most threes in a freaking quarter.
that was the Cavs against the Cavs, right?
Yeah.
In 16.
Yep.
Yeah,
They call him Game 6 Clay for a reason.
I remember watching that series, man. There's some dominance, man. I mean, that Cavs team was pretty stacked too, but I just, I mean, they won their one chip there.
Yeah, they did. They did. But
It was a competition for, was it 3 years?
yeah, it was about 3 or 4 years.
Looking back into it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, Klay Thompson put down 17 points with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. And then we go over to Boston. The top 3 performers were Jaylen Brown with 23 points, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds. Solid performance. I would have thought Tatum would have been the striving force, but he was right behind him with 21 points with 7 assists and 7 rebounds. Still almost put up a triple-double. Through that,
Yeah.
every game, almost triple-double. That's pretty good.
It's really Game 6, man. Of course, like I was saying, how Game 6 is people are now going to be like, oh, we're going to go after Tatum for his performance and say, oh, he had a terrible playoff performance. So there was really one game.
Yeah, you were
Let it off. Of course, it was the most important game.
Yeah, it was the most boring game, but
You should also give a shout out to Jaylen Brown because he picked up the slack that Tatum would not have.
imagine
would
if
not
Tatum, just imagine like actual experienced Tatum now. He's still so young.
Man, if they splitted like 25 apiece in Game 6, you're probably talking about a Game 7, right?
Yeah, you might even say a championship
Maybe,
at that point,
maybe.
maybe. And the final top performer from Boston is Marcus Smart. He put up 15 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Again, not as dominant as the other two, but he was the good third coming up guy for them that they needed that, for sure.
Well, Smart was all around the court. He was playing aggressive, really pissing off Green. That was funny.
Yeah, that was
I
funny.
think the funniest thing to me is, and it's just because as a Raptors fan, you're like, oh, you see Draymond Green getting pissed off, how much he was like talking whatever in the 2019 series there. So,
Oh, literally.
so it's pretty funny.
It was so funny.
Yeah, no, I think Smart. You're right. That core, Boston's core, you have to run it back. Either like you lost in 6, right? Like I don't really see that there's much of an embarrassment or a disappointment that you lost in 6. You lost to a damn good team.
You
A
just
team
got
that
Yeah, you just got beat by the better team. That's all.
it's ultimately what it was, right? So I say you gotta come back and
Fix your problems, come back because now you're hungry.
Yeah.
Give the players a reason to come back now.
I also want to say this with Boston too. I was saying that in the predictions as well, and I saw it with the Celtics Heat conference final, and I saw it again this series. Ultimately, Boston was missing a lot of routine buckets. Tatum would miss a few threes here and there as well, and it was kind of key. I think they could have slowed it down sometimes. I don't think they're as bad as Miami. Miami was bad with that, right?
Yeah,
They
Miami was
could
terrible.
not slow down. It's like, just take a second, and no one was even covering your shot, right? Jimmy Butler. So, ultimately, I think that's really
Still
kind of
wasn't a bad shot.
too. But I think that also would shift momentum, right? Because you lose that and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of takeaways from Golden State too, though. Speaking of that, right? You talk about giveaways. Jason Tatum. What was that stat that we saw?
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that because I found this absolutely insane. So Jason Tatum now ranks ahead of LeBron James for most turnovers in a single postseason. I think it was over 100, wasn't it? It was
Some crazy number.
oh my
yeah.
God, it was a crazy number and I was jaw-dropped to hear this. Yeah, like holy shit. 95 turnovers in 23 games this postseason.
Man, this guy eats a lot of desserts. Hey?
Oh my
A lot of
God.
apple turnovers. Oh, not those? Oh, okay.
I mean, okay, Jason Tatum, that's not the stats you want to be breaking, but
funny,
I kind of
hey,
see
for
why
such a-
players are mad.
For such a dominant player who did rack, like, he was dominant. It's
He
just
was just
things like that. But little things like that, again, is why momentum would shift to the other team, right?
there's one thing I also just noticed about this. This was 2018 LeBron though. And that was probably one of the most dominant LeBrons we've ever seen from him. When he was 2018 Cavs, he was a one-man wrecking machine.
I guess I kinda-
Did you see what he did to Toronto that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it
Sauce
LeBronto for a reason. Absolute killing.
I was gonna say too, that might not even just come with the aggressive play, right? The giveaways and stuff. If you're always running to the hoop, right, and you're not taking so much a safer approach, and you're kind of just running and gunning it, I guess giveaways are gonna be possible in that too. But it's just definitely not a stat, and it just of course looks really bad now because you lost your championship, and that's what's gonna be talked about. So.
But hey, it gives them
Have to
another
limit it.
reason to get really hungry, right?
Yeah, you're just gonna have to limit it, and yeah, Boston's defense. Maybe for your sixth man, you look at a more of a defensive role on that sixth man, right?
Possibly. One more thing I had to ask you, and so speaking of performances with Boston, we're going to move over to Golden State. Curry MVP Finals, 4 championships, 2 MVPs in the regular season. Is this man one of the greatest point guards of all time yet?
You know who's the greatest basketball player right now? Is Kendrick Lamar. Every time he releases an album, Golden State wins.
That's actually facts. That's a really weird stat. Search that up because, wow, I think...
Could you say Lamar is a sixth man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Lamar is your low-key sixth man on that team.
Morale and Big Step. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a pretty good album too, by the way. So. Hey, it's Kendrick never missed. It's always a good album. Okay, so Curry, yeah, he is getting close there.
He's up there now. He's up there.
It's just Magic Johnson. He's a GOAT. He's a legend, right? You cannot say anything yet because
his career's not over.
Exactly, Curry's career's not over. He hasn't won 5 yet. He's gonna probably win 6 by this time now.
If he wins 6, I think he's probably.
But Johnson was just like you're saying how dominant he was. He changed the game. Like you were saying, Curry definitely has changed the game. How the 3-pointer is used for say, and how shooting
100%.
is. But Johnson overall changed that game. But then, of course, you also have, like, Jerry West, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you also have that and Oscar Robertson. So I would honestly put Curry right now between the number...
Top 3?
He's got to be top 3 to top 4. That's hard to put. I'm gonna say Magic Johnson, West, and then Curry. And then by the end of the series, by the end of his career, he could be number 1. It's very possible. He very much is at that level and at that status. It's just that, man, with Magic Johnson, it's very hard to say anyone is better than Magic Johnson. Very few, right? Of course, you'd put Jordan up there.
There are very few that are better than Magic Johnson.
But this is in position-wise, I guess, like we were saying. So
it is the best point guard of all time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just say number 3.
That's fair. That's very fair. I looked at this for a little bit, and yeah, there are great point guards throughout history, like you said, Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson has dominated basically a whole 80s, and you can maybe say he dominated that one year, his first year he came in, because I think he won the NBA championship like the year he came in.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was one of the first rookies to ever do that, to ever go into an NBA and win it all first year. And he just dominated right off the get-go, all the 80s, and he was a big part in the 90s just before he retired. doing that. Anyways, then you look at some other great ones, and you got Isaiah Thomas, Oscar Robertson up there, but Curry just is proving more and more, and his career's not even over. Like, he brought basically almost a Bulls-like freaking dynasty.
How many years do you think he has left? Probably 7, 6?
Yeah.
What's his age? What,
31.
I was going to say like 31, 32. Yeah. In the NBA, you play to your 40 if you're that good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got about 8 years left.
Fair enough. And
that's a lot of championships they could win. Golden State, man.
Golden State, yeah. They've been
Something
there.
else. They're going to just be here for a long time.
Very long
But Boston
time.
is too, right? If everything, the Cards have played well.
Very true.
And it's nice that even though it still looks like, Golden State's still around and stuff, you still have a lot of these teams that are going to be able to fight for finals. It's going to be there's still a bigger plethora. I bet you Milwaukee still has and it comes out of the East a few times. Miami still has possibilities, right? And then it's very, very much so, right? Even Dallas, right? You talk about that, and
yeah, there's a lot of candidates for it, for sure.
right. So it's
Curry has to be top 3. I would put him right behind Magic. Magic's the best point guard of all time, but you put Curry right behind him.
Yeah.
I think he's not even career ending, and he's already probably number 2 best.
It is crazy to think that, and you don't realize it because it's happening in front of your eyes, but it's crazy how we were witnessing like history, right? When we talk about, I wish I watched during the Jordan era. I mean, I wish I did, right?
That would have been sick.
Or heck, I wish we were like old enough to even watch the Kobe era, because we really couldn't, in the sense of like, the early 2000s, because we were just kids, right?
Yeah.
Just little babies, but
weren't big in the basketball.
This Curry, whatever, for say, even seeing like Giannis, even seeing Doncic, right?
You're starting to see a future.
Kawhi, even seeing, right?
We are so LeBron.
Come when we're no longer this age, and say like kids' age or whatever, right? At that older age, like they were gonna like talk about Curry for say, as if he is one of those greats, right? So.
Yeah,
that's something to really think about, but it's hard to really put into words or really realize until you are. And that's why I love sports right now. Sports is, I think we're kind of have a bit of a treat. Like, yeah, it sucks seeing all these like sport teams win consistently, but we're seeing dynasties before our eyes.
That is very true.
We're seeing superstars make names and break records when every single league has evolved to be a much more difficult sport, right?
Yes, very.
You can't say basketball wasn't harder 20 years ago than it is now, right? There may be some disagreements.
There's a lot of things to take to that, though.
That's true, but I would say every sport has evolved, that it's harder than it was 30, 40 years ago, okay? That's
on talent-wise and skills of a player, yes, that is very true.
So that's why I think it's absolutely crazy.
Physicality,
we're seeing records being broken, and we're seeing history. So.
Yeah. We're seeing a different level of the game.
Let's enjoy it while we can, right?
Yeah, that's very true. And, what should we get to next about this? I think we should take it a bit away from the NBA Finals for a second, but still kind of involved. What is your top 5 performers in the whole playoffs entirely, from 1 to finals?
Okay, I'm going to go just from 5 to 1 there. So just kind of go from that. Okay, I kind of picked this, I guess, best off of just how the team, I was well performed and how they kind of contributed with their team. So some might have some better stats than others who are ranked higher. So for me, my number 5 was Jimmy Butler, averaged 27.4 points a game during the playoff stint there for the Heat. Everyone, of course, will always joke about the conference final there, the shot. But ultimately, Butler really was. It was at some points for Miami, it was a one-man show.
He put the team on his back a lot of those games.
You can talk about Adebayo, and you can. I didn't see Lowry much. The hero is benched half the time, but Butler, in all honesty, I think he, which is nice because Miami, to me, it shows that. Maybe you make a few moves and help out with Butler there. Heck, Miami might even be in that spot come next year. Very possible.
Very true. The Heat look like a deadly one for sure.
So my number 4, maybe I could have put him a bit higher, but Jason Tatum, I put him as number 4, who averaged the 25.6 points during the playoffs. Now that I think of it, maybe I could have put him higher, but I think I put him at 4 just because ultimately, when he was slacking, it was picked up by other players such as Jaylen Brown. I would say Brown could have been like an honorable mention, I think, because his performance was really impressive. But I think Tatum overall had a fantastic series, and of course, as much as he had his mistakes and all that, but the Celtics team is nowhere near where they went. Nowhere near their outcome is if Tatum wasn't on this team.
That is very
performing,
true.
Right? So you have to put him in there. That's why I think.
Yeah, you do.
Tatum was going to win MVP if they win next year. That's how I see it, right?
Sure.
So we'll see how that works. But yeah, Tatum at number 4 there. Now, I got to say, number 3 here. Man, I was just heavily impressed by this. Ja Morant, 27.1 points, led the league in assists in the playoffs with 9.8 on average. Morant actually carried his team, like legitimately just carried. 40-point nights, right?
Yep.
Just that is
against Golden State.
That's
against Golden State.
Phenomenal. So this Grizzlies team,
a lot of potential. Tons of potential.
Tons of potential. But you better make sure that you work around him, because a performance like that, with his talent and skill, you only got a few years. You only got a few years to kind of keep that happy, and then Morant leaves, man, goes to a team, and he could be a piece that.
He is a franchise player.
He's a franchise player, but he could be a piece that takes a team right to the finals.
That
right?
is true.
That is very true. I think, Morant, I was just heavily impressed by just how he played. But speaking of impressive performances here, Luka Doncic, speaking of carrying, this dude, Europeans, man, they're so good at basketball.
So good.
27.1, 31.7 points on average. Dallas needs to build a shrine for this guy.
Oh yeah.
Win a series or not, or win a championship or not, he just another level. He takes his team to another level. His elite status really is why the Mavs are considered a playoff favorite, right? And we're saying how many years were we saying how many Doncic has left? I think till 2026 it was, correct?
I actually was double checking on that, so yeah. I'll come back to you in a second.
But Doncic had an absolutely dominant performance, and I can see the Mavs, because of Doncic, of course they have some cap trouble. I think they're $30 million over right now. But
holy shit.
You
yeah, 5 years. 5 years.
5 years, yeah. No, you deal with that, you can figure that out. Yeah, same thing. Work around Doncic, and yeah, he had a phenomenal series, or had phenomenal playoffs, and I could see Dallas being in the same spot next year.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works.
Adding new pieces like that. Yeah.
Number 1, we'll probably guess it, 27.4 points on average. His 3-point percentage, by the way, was 43.7% in the finals. That's just absolutely crazy.
So dirty.
The fact that he's almost shooting 50. That's just.
He probably could have shoot 50 if he didn't do that great in game. He didn't do that great in game 5 from the line. If he did well that game, I think. Oh my
It'd probably
God.
46 or something, right? 45. Steph Curry, I mean, of course, he's the MVP. It's just his performance was just dominant all around. Really just he doesn't even need to prove himself. He's just good. He's just that good, right? As long as Curry is with this team, Golden State's always going to be a force to be reckoned with. Finals favorites, championship favorites.
Yeah.
Curry is just everything you want. Hall of Fame bound, of course. What else can you say? He'll probably win more championships. He's just that good.
That is very true.
He's so elite, and yeah, it's gonna be a rough few years for the West. That's how I see it. Now that this Golden State team is back to their old tricks again. So that's my top 5, ladies and gentlemen. What about you, good sir?
Being a Lakers fan, that's nice. That's not nice to hear, especially when you're dealing with our situation. But hey, anyways, back to my. I guess I'll move on to my top 5 now. And I do actually have to add a honorable mention to this one. And it's Giannis. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Very fair.
This man went off on that freaking, what was it again? Was it a second round? Yes, it was a second round against.
Rounds, but yeah.
It was second round against Miami. oh my God, this guy freaking went off. I think he was almost averaging a triple-double a game, and it was nuts. Absolute nuts. So I just had to give him the honorable mention. I could see him making the finals again if they just fix it up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because you think about who's based off around him too, like Bobby Portis Jr.,
Chris Middleton, and it's just like that team. I was very shocked that team didn't make it far, but Boston was a different level in my opinion this year. But I'll go with number 5. I'm gonna stick with Jimmy Butler. There was a lot of times through these last few series he was in, he had to put the team on his back, and he came out. You made some very good points like you were mentioning there before. And, it sucks he couldn't bring them all the way to a finals, but, dude, there's still tons of potential for Miami for next season.
Yeah, these East teams, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath for the East. Then it's looking easy for Curry and Golden State again. Let's just say that. But anyways, we're going to move on to number 4. I got John Morant. I totally understand what you respect about his performance because it was insane. It almost took out the Golden State Warriors in that series.
That's why I picked the Grizzlies, man, because I was like, dude, what's going on here with this Grizzlies team? Like, could they kind of pop off and just... And then Morant's just like, yeah, I'll hit 40.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Yeah, John Morant is truly looking like a prime Westbrook and Derrick Rose mixed together with his athleticism and just his shooting and all-around play. He's so young, too. He was drafted second behind Zion.
His knee must be so young and healthy.
Oh, I bet. It's great.
Yeah, poor Derrick
no
Rose,
ACL problems. Let's go for Grizzlies,
poor
hopefully. I'm not jinxing them on that one. For number 3, I got Jason Tatum. You got to give him a lot of credit because he might have not crazy proved it like in the finals that he's should be on this list, but I would say first round, second round, third round, he deserved that say because he same as Jimmy Butler, he had to put the team on his back when he needed it the most, and they came back and won some big games because of him. He had that mentality for sure, and that was great to see from him, and that's why I thought he was going to win the finals, but it happens. And for number 2, I got Luka Doncic. Speaking of guys that do actually put the team on their backs, like, wow, you said it yourself. Europeans, man. There's a reason why this guy will become the face of the NBA in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Because just, oh my God, the talent around this guy. Absolute insane. And he just does, did you hear the stuff he did before the playoff games too? He was freaking drinking and freaking smoking most of the time. It was nuts, and he was still dropping 40.
Peak athletic performance as he's probably absolutely hung Swiss cheese before the match. That's
literally.
crazy.
This guy was nuts during freaking...
I didn't even know that. That's so funny.
No, it was hilarious, but this man still had probably one of the best performances. It's just, it sucked because he had no help, but they did make Actually, the Mavs did make a trade. They dropped their first round pick to Houston for Christian Wood. So that's a power forward from Houston Rockets. And he's a young piece. He's a young piece for the Mavs now, and he's a power forward. So needed that upfront scoring. So that will help a lot with Luka. And he'll probably love playing with Luka as well, especially when they sign Jaylen Brown back, hopefully. Or Jalen Brunson, sorry, not Jaylen Brown.
Brunson.
There we go. And number 1, obviously, is Steph Curry, the Finals MVP. I've been saying it all night, basically. What can you not say? Like, one of the best shooters of all time. You could probably make the case of best point guard of all time. You could even make the case of probably top 10 all-time non-position. Like, absolute crazy player.
That is actually crazy to think that, like, the fact that we've seen, in the sense of the past decade, we've seen I guess LeBron is...
He's number 2.
2000s. But the fact that LeBron and Curry play in the same era, I mean, Kobe, I guess, did play in the same era too. Rest in peace. But
rest in peace, Mamba.
More or less, it's kind of just LeBron and Curry in the same era. That's actually crazy, right?
Two top 10 players in the league of it's insanity. And I'm so excited to see what holds next for these teams. And I think that's where we wrap up this episode.
Yeah, wrap up the NBA season.
Yep, this is where we wrap up the NBA season. If you have enjoyed us doing NBA and you guys are excited for the next season, I would definitely leave a like and a comment. And also, we are trying our best to add new stuff to the wall and new stuff on us. And if you enjoyed this, I hope you like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe share just for the boys. Why not? And Tristan, I'll let you end this off.
Alrighty, guys. Well, like B-Dog said, thank you very much for listening or watching wherever you guys are watching or consuming this content. You can follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Buzzsprout, all that. We also got a website out now too. We're posting blogs, and you can also find the podcast on there too. We'll keep updating it from time to time. It is www.puckandstuff.wixsite.com/podcast.
We'll drop it in the link.
We'll drop it in the link too, so you can check us out on there. You can also send us some lovely comments if you'd like to. And hey guys, keep on rocking in the free world. There's gonna be, of course, the draft in the NBA, so we'll have that too. But hey, we're kind of winding down these championships, so we'll be finding out. We'll be scouting for more content. Let us know if you guys would like us to do anything for some content. And hey, we'll grant you wishes. Anyways, guys, have a good rest of the night or day wherever you guys are, and keep on enjoying the summer weather. If it's still sunny. It rains a lot here, so I don't know if we're getting the sun. But
I'm just waiting for him to say peace out. I'm just sitting
anyways,
here.
Guys.
All right. We'll see you guys.